I call to order this regular meeting of the Board of Public Works this Tuesday, April 23rd of 2024. First up, we have messages from board members. Do we have any messages from the board this evening?
None for me.
All right. Next is petitions and remonstrances. If anyone is here to make a public comment about something that is not on the agenda, now is the opportunity to do so. If you're joining us on Zoom, if you can use the raised hand function or the chat function to let us know if you have a comment, you are welcome to do that now.
There's nothing, don't say.
All right, seeing none. Next up is the consent agenda. Under the consent agenda, we have change order number 1 for the Adams Street Sidewalk Project, acceptance of a public improvement bond for 220 West Gordon Pike, parking reservation extension request from Red Truck Bloomington for Big Woods renovations, change order number 1 for the Morningside Drive Greenway project, sidewalk walk-around request from Strausser Construction for 11th Street Community Kitchen Express, Resolution 2024-026, new mobile vendor Betty's Hot Dog Push Cart, Resolution 2024-024, declaration of surplus of street equipment, Resolution 2024-019, Grand Falloon and Bloomington Handmade Market, amended outdoor lighting service agreement with Duke Energy to add Phase 3 of Showers Project, contract with Ancris LLC for removal of office at Morton Street Garage, contract with Fast Signs LLC for signage at Morton and Walnut Street garages, and approval of payroll. Do we have any items that need to be removed from the consent agenda this evening?
None for me.
And I'll just make a note that I had requested that the City Legal Department review the sidewalk walk-around request from Strausser Construction for the 11th Street Community Kitchen Express. I serve on the board of the Community Kitchen, so I asked them to review that for conflict of interest, and they determined that there was no conflict of interest or financial interest for me on this item.
I just have one note, very briefly. The staff report for change order number 1 for Adams Street Sidewalk Project, it looks like the PDF software gobbled up some of the text, so it's not readable.
Okay.
But
We can update that.
yeah.
Sometimes they get corrupted if they're sent through engineering for some reason.
Those
It's
engineers.
like an encoding,
I know.
Yeah.
an encoding issue.
All right, do we have any public comments on the consent agenda?
You're not doing Kyle's, right? I am. Oh, okay. I was trying to find it.
There are no participants on Zoom.
Seeing none, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
I move approval of the consent agenda for the Board of Public Works meeting for April 23rd, 2024, and the 12 items therein.
Thanks. I second. We have a motion and a second, so I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox-Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up is new business. First under new business is alley closure and metered parking reservation request from Fox Properties for building facade work.
Hello, I am Kendall Kanoki with the engineering department. I am filling in for Kyle Baugh tonight. This is a request for an alley closure in the north-south alley between 4th Street and 3rd Street, adjacent to the 4th Street parking garage. It also includes some metered parking reservations along 4th Street, and this is for some facade work to the building there. It houses Best Taste. And the plan is to have a pedestrian walk around on 4th Street in those parking spaces, and then to restrict vehicular access to the alley adjacent to the building, but to keep the sidewalk that was constructed as part of the 4th Street parking garage open. So there will be full pedestrian access east-west in front of the building along 4th Street and north-south along the east side of the building in the alley. Vehicular access will be restricted to just the south side of the alley, but there will be full access to the businesses in the alley, such as the Blockhouse Bar and the back door. There's also an east-west alley, although it's not clear if a vehicle could actually get through that alley. At the work session, it was requested that the petitioner reach out to the owners of the businesses in that alley and As of 3:30 today, there had been no successful attempts to get in contact with those business owners. They do not open until later tonight. If there's been any updates on that, I'm not aware of. So, any other questions, I'd be happy to answer about it.
I'll jump in real quick too. Kyle and I have been working with the petitioner, Justin Fox, throughout the day. We're recommending approval of this tonight, knowing that Mr. Fox will continue to work with both the blockhouse and the back door on their deliveries. Most of those deliveries usually happen off of 4th Street is kind of how we expect they'll probably use the pedestrian walkway quite a bit. If not, they can be accommodated off of 3rd, but Mr. Fox did post his contact information with the businesses and everything else to make sure they're able to coordinate going forward, and we'll continue through Kyle and Mr. Fox to make sure that all that coordination occurs, and yeah, we are recommending approval.
Thank you. Any questions on this item from the board?
None for me.
Any public comment on this item?
I have no Zoom attendance.
All right. Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move approval of the alley closure and metered parking reservation request from Fox Properties for building facade work.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next is Resolution 2024-023, public need to purchase right-of-way for the West 2nd Street Modernization and Safety Improvement Project.
Kendall Kanoki, Engineering Department again. So this is a resolution to authorize the purchase of right-of-way for the West 2nd Street Modernization Project. So the project itself is the reconstruction of West 2nd Street between Walker and the Beeline Trail. It's going to add two-way protected bike lane. We're going to replace a couple traffic signals. There's copious amounts of new storm sewer and drainage improvements being made, and new sidewalks, curb ramps, bus stops are being installed. This is a federally funded project, so it's going to go through the federal process for right-of-way and environmental and construction and everything. Schedule-wise, we are scheduled to let through NDOT in February of 2025, and we expect construction to begin middle of 2025 and construction to wrap up in the middle of 2026. So as part of this project, we've determined there are up to 13 parcels that will require the purchase of permanent and temporary right-of-way. A majority of the right-of-way that we are needing for the project is temporary right-of-way, so that'll be returned to the property owners once we do some rework of driveways and grading, that kind of thing. And then there is a small amount of permanent right-of-way that is needed for the project. So if approved by the board, this resolution will confirm the project serves a public purpose and will authorize the right-of-way acquisition. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
None for me.
Any public comments on this item?
No comment on Zoom.
Seeing none. Is there a motion?
I move approval of Resolution 2024-023, the public need to purchase right-of-way for the West 2nd Street Modernization and Safety Improvement Project.
And I second. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. Next up, we have staff reports and other business.
No reports this evening.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of claims. Are there any questions on the claims?
No, none for me.
Okay. Do we have any public comment on claims?
None on Zoom.
All right. Is there a motion?
I move approval of the claims for April 23rd, 2024, in the amount of $2,304,455.04. Thank you.
And I second that motion. I will call the roll. Roach?
Aye.
Cox Deckard, aye. Motion passes. And if there is nothing else, I will call for adjournment.